Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. We call to order the January 21st meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. Everybody would introduce themselves for the record. I'm Chris Wallace.
Tony Salinas.
Rob.
Oh, sorry.
Brian Shane.
Rob.
Dave Cole. John Swain, your sheriff.
Rhonda Maynard, assistant clerk. Amy Race, clerk.
All right. I believe we have the January 7th and 14th minutes in front of us. I believe they've been revised,
They have,
updated.
both have been updated, which brings me to the question of how detailed the board want me to get. I go into like actions is what, plus points, so I don't know.
I think that's fine. I think the way you've been doing it is just fine. I don't think you need to record, memorialize every single statement that is made. I think as long as you catch the major points in the minutes, I think that's sufficient.
And then recorded, aren't they?
We have a motion to accept the January 7th and 14th minutes.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. Mr. Sheriff, you're on service.
Good morning, gentlemen. I have nothing to report to you this morning other than it's very, very cold out. Things are going pretty good this early year. One item of business that Amy will take care of during her session was some reimbursement of money again to address the MDTs that we addressed a couple of meetings ago for our patrol division. Basically, in layman's term, they're getting new laptops because we have to replace them all by October anyways. But we forgot that the MDT, which the docking stations that the new ones go in won't fit in the old ones, so we have to replace those as well. So that's what that item of business is. Part that we can have new laptops, we just need to have the laptops. But other than that, I don't have anything of your honorable board this morning, unless you gentlemen have anything in my office.
I do not, sir.
You guys have more accidents?
We had some accidents when the snow was in. Yeah, graduated.
How high was it?
No, I mean, just, when the storms first hit, you get your, kind of busy time, people in the ditch, stuck in the ditch, you get
Then you learn to drive.
Yeah, but once we get a snowstorm or two, it seems to kind of aggravated, okay, it's winter and maybe I should slow down a little bit and then slow down. But not normally so far.
Mr. Keller, did you have anything for us this morning, sir?
Just looking on our agenda items, I can knock those out real quick if you'd like me to. You wait away.
No, that is fine. I don't have an agenda in front of me. No, that is, I like it. I'm a liar.
So I can wait. It's just, there's additional item I have under there, the land bank, but then also obviously what was discussed this morning, Port Authority. I presented those resumes last week, so just between two boards. So the land bank has two commissioners serving on it. Dr. Sneakus is one, and then Mark was the other one, Commissioner Forrest. So either Commissioner Shea or Commissioner Walsh serve on the land bank. It's one meeting a month, typically the last Thursday of the month at 10 a.m. About probably 45 minutes to an hour long meeting. We met, Amy, how many times last year? 4 or 5. I mean, it's as needed. We particularly set it up to go after the state demo dollars. Those demo dollars are being used in South Solon and Plain City currently. So it's really, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a huge time commitment. It would get you kind of involved a little bit more with kind of maybe some, nuisance or I guess nuisance properties or opportunities for redevelopment in the county. And so that's kind of the spiel for the land bank. So it's gonna need one more commissioner, that's for certain. And only one commissioner was appointed on the first meeting of the year, so we need one more.
We're having a meeting on the 30th.
Correct, so the first meeting would be January 30th at 10 a.m. And again, you're probably gonna, if I had to guess, probably 4 or 5 meetings a year.
I'm happy to do it.
Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to go ahead, that's fine with me.
So Commissioner Shea, all right, okay, and I don't think it needs to be voted on, I think it's just reflected in the minutes.
Yep.
And I can address the other two later on if you want me to.
That works for me, sir. Roberta.
Did you want to go through the update on the comp plan, or are you waiting on?
Yeah, I mean,
I see it on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I could, okay, let's just talk through mine, if that's okay with everybody. So the first item, is that we're doing outreach for the comp plan. We've reached out to all townships. We're basically have what we call 3 tiers. First tier is, the townships that are gonna see more development due to utilities and just interest, and that includes Darby Township, Canaan Township, Deer Creek, and Jefferson. And then we have, and that's in Darby, yeah. So, so those are the 4 there, and then the second tier, we have could see development, Summer Township, Union Township, what was the other one in there? I think Pleasant Township. And then the last tier is the remaining ones. And we're doing outreach, and basically for the tier 3, which are the, probably won't see too much development, presenting the maps, saying, take a look at this. If there are any changes you want, let us know. But if not, you can probably send an email back stating that everything is good to go. The second tier, we're gonna probably go to their meetings, talk to them and see what changes they think should be made. I'm gonna talk to them about what development opportunities have inquired about different opportunities, and kind of sit down and kind of go over the maps, and then they'll present the map or return the map to us, and we'll kind of hold that into our public hearing. The first tier, we're gonna really dive down. We already have the meeting set up. We're gonna go to, and I can let you guys know if you guys do want to attend. But we have meetings set up, and we're gonna really scrutinize the map, look at different development opportunities, and then we're gonna take those back in. And then the goal is second quarter of this year, hold at least 1 public hearing, maybe 2, maybe we do north side, south side, that type of deal. And make sure the public is aware of what's going on. It's really not too different than what we've done in the past. And then with the hope of early 3rd quarter, so probably July-ish, coming from the commissioners for the updated comp plan. We might update some of the text too, depending on the different initiatives that are kind of going on. So that's where we're at currently. We've done all the outreach. Dennis has been involved as well, so that's process is going smoothly. So happy to answer any questions or talk, whether here or offline, whatever is best.
That all makes sense.
Yes.
The tier 1, you mentioned Jefferson, Darby, Deer Creek, what was the 4?
Canaan.
Canaan.
Considering some of the conversations with the potential company relocating this comp plan, do we dive into that in this comp plan, do you think? Or, I mean, this is very surface conversations that Commissioner Wallace has had and I've had with the potential interested party, but it's pretty significant. I don't know where we start. I don't want to overstep.
Yeah, I don't know that we jumped the gun yet on that. And as you said, the conversations are preliminary.
Yeah.
In nature, I think maybe if we get some more information by the end of March, say, maybe we could throw some of that into the comp plan if that were possible.
And I've come up with some ideas, and maybe we can go into depth a little bit in future meetings before everything's approved. But you know, if looking at the comp plan, if we're going to update it every 3 years, but a change maybe needs to happen in year 1, you know, or a year and a half in. You know, we've explored different ways that we could potentially show the township support for the change, maybe in a one-off type of situation. through a passing of a resolution or an ordinance that all three pass, saying we support this project. Not talking about this particular project, but a project in general and a change in land use, even though we're mid-switch. For instance, say we had something designated as PCD, planned commercial development, but something comes in that's more industrial and it makes sense for the community, makes sense for the township. Maybe we look at, okay, the comp plan says PCD, but the township is in support of this through passing of an ordinance or a resolution. Therefore, that can pass through the process with the zoning request for change of zoning. That way it shows there's a support for that. So, things are moving so quickly now that I understand and I support keeping things in place for 3 to 5 years. However, with things changing, you just never know. You gotta be flexible.
It's a guiding document, it's a visionary document, but you can't be so rigid that you're not willing to take advantage of opportunities that may come into the county. So I think that makes perfect sense.
Right. So.
Very good, thank you, sir.
And then, one last item is the Port Authority, I think. Dr. Zanikis brought it up, and there's 3 potential candidates for that. So we're in a huge rush. The way that bylaws are written, the seat is still filled until it's either reappointed or somebody else is in place. So the decision can be made today, or if you want to take one more week, it's not going to hurt anything.
I've reviewed the resumes that came in. I'm comfortable with reappointing Mr. Wallace and Steve Alani to the Port Authority. And, it's okay, I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second.
First and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakers?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
I'm done, shutting up.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Now, school police first.
I'm saying the best for one,
Actually, that's, that would be it.
So I did reach out to the Ohio Treasurer's Office on the open checkbook. They provided some guidance, basically that the auditor's office should provide financial information to their office on regular intervals. And it's a pretty simple process. So I reached out to the county auditor, Jennifer Hunter, passed that information along to her. She said she would take it from there, which sounds good, and I'll just, periodically touch base with her and see how.
She gave a timeline when that could be.
She didn't, but it seems like it's such a simple process, I can't imagine it taking a tremendous amount of time. But I'll just touch base with her on the regular, just make sure things are progressing within an acceptable time frame.
Some entities seem to have more information than others. Did the treasurer's contact mention other templates or their tiers for more information versus less? How is that structured?
Yeah, it's based on the information that you provide. So anything that's in the financial data more or less can be posted, or you could, I won't say redact, but I don't know if that's the correct term, but select certain financial information to be available.
And that's fully customizable so that the auditor would just
Yeah.
determine what she wants to provide.
Well, I think you can provide some guidance maybe, or direction on the data that you would want to provide. I don't know why you would just provide everything.
Everything's in the minutes, everything we do is open to the public. If we just, I think having this would be easy for the public just to go on and do it without,
Yeah.
having to ask. So the more you can supply it, I have at it.
Mhm. Yeah, so I didn't really differentiate when I spoke to the auditor on a certain amount of, what data.
I would think it'd be easier to do that than the other.
Just do a mass export and email it periodically, and, they upload it and have it posted, so. Moving forward with that. Next thing on my list is the YouTube channel, which is basically these meetings. So these meetings are recorded in Teams. Then they are uploaded to our YouTube channel. In the minutes, or I'm sorry, the agenda, we have our handle in the site, the YouTube site, and then I put links on the county website as well. So basically click on that, you go to the YouTube channel, you select which meeting you want to watch, and you can watch it.
Can that be put on the social media part of your app too?
Yeah, I don't know if we pushed that out yet to the social media or not, but it's definitely something.
There should be a tab on it, you can click it and give them access to it through your app.
Yeah, and we can push it out on the Push app too as well, so we'll hit all the different media sites.
I've always wanted my own YouTube channel.
You could have them, it's pretty easy to set up, so I'm not sure what the subjects would be, I'm afraid to ask,
So thank you for that, Rob. At some of the meeting, the sound was a little bit challenging. I wonder if, just like a simple, those Blue Yeti mics, and it's $75, $80.
Yeah.
Set up in the middle, and that might help.
Do they have closed captions?
There is captions, available, it's somewhat
Yeah.
successful, it doesn't do the greatest of job. But we can certainly look at bringing in a mic, like we have a portable mic downstairs in the conference room, so we can put it right there in the middle of the desk.
I have a mic conference table that does really well.
Yeah, you have the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, we can do that. Or maybe even grab that one down there, because I don't think anybody really uses that mic during conferences, so we can just grab that and at least give it a test run and see how much better it is, so. Downside is it has a cable, but, it's not.
I thought they're rechargeable, I think.
The one downstairs has a cord that it connects to the USB, yeah, so. But we can give that a whirl. Next thing on my list is the term sheet that I sent to you guys. This is basically between Madison County, Ohio GIG and MUVECA, which is the Miami Valley Educational Computer Association. This is regarding our fiber ring that we've been working on for a couple years now. Had a couple meetings with Ohio GIG, and I believe, which is pretty convenient, Brian just walked in now, but Brian had a chance to meet with them, I believe, last week or the week before that. But this basically illustrates the cost of the project, the contribution to the project, who's going to own what, who's going to run what, and so forth, so on. And I just wanted to bring this to you guys to see if this is the direction that you wanted to go in, and what the revenue, what the ROI, that sort of thing, what that looks like over the next 5 years. So I did redline this agreement. Ice Miller came up with this term sheet, who's our consultant attorneys. Sent this to me last week or the week before. I did redline it. One thing to note is that MUVECA did put this out to bid. Construction company was chosen as a GSP, and they have been in communications with Ohio GIG to still complete that construction piece of the project. Now, Ohio GIG, they do everything themselves, so this is a little bit different for them, as far as I know. I mean, they go from, they manufacture their own conduit all the way up to plowing, boring, and fiber, so this isn't going to violate that bid process. So GSP will work with MUVECA and Ohio GIG on construction. Number 8, I have to remind MUVECA and Ice Miller that the county did pay MUVECA $156,000 in 2023 for design and engineering of the fiber ring. So there is money, a significant investment has been made. The construction costs right now, we're looking at 6.5 million, with the county providing half and Ohio Gate providing half, which still chasing down Bob and Ohio dollars, but seems like that's more of a program designed to help the telecommunication companies, not necessarily the local counties and cities and so forth, so on. So, but still working on that. Is there anything in there that jumps out at you or that you have questions on?
I have a question on the revenue sharing agreement. So the 30% receipt of fiber sales with service, how is that determined? Because not everything's jointly owned. So it's 30% of.
144 fibers, strands.
But that's what Ohio Gate owns independently.
So Rebecca will have their 24 strands. Ohio Gate owns 144. And I got 101. Yeah.
So my question is, what is the 30% share that we receive on? We don't get 100% of the sales of what we own?
So the way that I interpret this is you have the total number of strands, right? And they've broken it down, and you're right, I should do the math on this because I don't know if 144 gigs or 144 fibers equates to that percentage. But that is something we can definitely look into. And this is all negotiable right now. It's just basically moving forward how we're going to hammer out this contract.
So if we pay for half, shouldn't we own half the strand?
Yes and no. We're also receiving administration from Rebecca, and that's part of the agreement.
You got them down as getting 24 strand for that particular piece of work.
Right, right. And like I said, ISMR, who represents us, they're the ones that came up with this term sheet, what they felt was, acceptable to all parties. So that's why I was bringing it to you now.
Just have a question to back that one.
And this is nothing that has to be decided on today, it's just presenting the information.
So we own 120 strands. If somebody approaches us to sell them those strands, we only get 30%.
That is something that we need to look into because I thought it was a total number of strands, 30% of those strands. But yeah, I see your train of thought here. If it's strands that we own, we should be able to lease those or sell those for 100%. So that is something I'll need to look into. I didn't think of it along that way. But again, part of the agreement is Rebecca will be the administrative agent. And when I say that, I mean that is the technical, the firewalls, all of that stuff, the management, administration of the network. And that's something that we really don't want to do. One, we don't have any experience in it, and two, our staff. I won't say it's stretched thin, but they have plenty of stuff.
The other parties haven't contributed any money up to this point. It was just 156,000 that we gave, right?
Correct.
So if they're partners, we should be able to get some of that back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand.
For partners, it should be divided equally.
For the design.
Yeah, to feed them back up.
I mean, we're partners, right?
Right.
Any partnership works by whatever we decide, 30, 50%, whatever.
I'll go back to the agreement with Rebecca to see if that design
Now, if they had
wasn't like
already paid,
$300,000.
right, exactly. If they have already paid, fine, I'm happy. But if we're the only ones that coughed up that money,
Yeah.
And by the way, for those that don't know, this money, the 3 million, came from
ARPA dollars,
ARPA dollars that we, you know, earmarked for this particular project. So those two questions, I think, probably would be good.
yeah, I'll go back to the Rebecca contract and see if they had labor
If they did,
figured,
okay.
calculated in with that, see if it was matching with that amount, so. Good question, and then I'll come back with
The
the.
problem with this is that so freaking long that we've been working on it, I've forgotten the darn details from, you know, what,
Right,
3 years ago?
right. Yeah, it's been a long
Government works
process.
so fast.
What's that?
Government really works fast.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the gap in time was because of
That's actually the private sector partner. Now, we had a partner lined up, then that partner backed out.
yeah,
That's what's caused the delay.
that kind of left us hanging, so we were out.
And that's why they go in and tweaking these numbers quite a bit. They get the private partner to back out as well, so we gotta be careful of moving the numbers around too much, because they may be the numbers they came up with to make this a viable project.
Yeah, and you're right, we need to make, I just want a nice fair deal, that's all.
Sure.
And, you know, I think I
So we push.
I know, but I think
They back out again.
these are just questions, but, you know, I think Iceland was a good choice, I think they, you know,
They're experts in the field and do this all the time.
Now, C and D are pretty self-explanatory. Ohio Gate's gonna provide service to the door. So we won't receive any of those dollars. That's where their interest really lies.
They should.
And then 50% of the conduit sales, you know, since we'll be in the project, 50% partner, so we'll receive 50% of conduit revenue, so. But I think at the end, you know, with some of these open issues, it's whether or not those meetings with Ohio Gate and the county engineer have been fruitful, and if we have a path forward there, which I'll just kind of hand that off.
Yeah, so we
don't want to
No,
surprise you by
I
this.
was going to walk into some sort of surprise.
It's not an ambush, I didn't mean
I
to.
understand. No, you're not. We did have a productive meeting the week before last. We are going to consider the plowing method for their, and when I say consider, we're open to it with the proper agreement in place to make sure that, you know, the county's made whole on potential risk, right? Just like we talked about a few weeks ago. So the way we left things is the loop, the main loop or ring will be bored. What they want to plow in will be what they're called the last mile, the offshoots, in areas where it makes sense to them. And from a production standpoint, they shared it was almost like a 10x productivity increase by plowing further. So from an economic standpoint, it does significantly reduce your costs. So the way we left things, we gave them some feedback on things we need to see on the plans. They're going to incorporate that, and then we are going to work through the specific details in the agreement, the dollar amounts of bonds and that sort of thing, back and forth. So I do believe we have good forward momentum with those guys. One thing that struck me was the scope of the project too. They shared, you know, in addition to main ring, the Liver Loop, which we're actually calling it, which is a touch over 100 miles. They're talking about an additional 1,500 miles of fiber installed. So,
Yeah,
significant.
and that's, yeah, that piece.
And that piece would be on their own.
Right.
But, you know,
Yeah.
it can't exist without the main project.
Yeah.
That's what provides the backbone to be able to.
Right,
So,
right. And that accomplishes one of the goals that the commissioners set out, which was getting high-speed internet service to non-served or underserved areas.
What was this? Like I said, it's been a while, but were they gonna run fiber to the schools?
It's going to connect to Ormet and I can't remember if Ormet is the state or if that's the schools, but yeah, it will connect.
My understanding, it was connected to all the schools.
Yeah, I mean, the schools are connected now, but this will, work into that network, so. I almost want to describe how it all works, but it's probably more than what you really want to know. But it's also running fiber to township buildings, to fire departments, to municipalities, that sort of thing, to help with cost for those entities as well. So when we did the planning and the engineering, it was getting close to those township halls as we possibly could. So there's multiple benefits to the project. So it's one, underserved, non-served areas, one, the government partners that we have, being able to provide a cheaper service to them. And then third is our telecommunications costs, because right now we lease fiber. The only fiber that we actually own is from the courthouse to municipal court, to the Jones building, to the prosecutor's office. So that's the only fiber that we actually install ourselves and that we own right now. The engineer's office, job and family services, so forth, so on, we lease fiber. That runs our network and our phones.
Cost savings for the county.
Yeah, so I believe, if my memory is correct, to Tony's point, it was been so long ago, but our annual cost was right around $150K for all those lines. So we'll be able to eliminate those costs. We'll be able to eliminate some other costs as well. And that's where Rebecca comes into play. They'll be the ones managing those routers and those firewalls and stuff that we won't have to mess with, so that's good.
No, I think it's important to remember not just the percentages here, but there also is tremendous cost savings to the county. So I think that's important to keep in mind. And as you said, I think it's important to keep in mind that we're not using, general fund dollars. We are using ARPA dollars for this project, and there's an anticipated return of investment, that we'll see on this project that will likely, make up for those costs in a 5 to 6, 7, 8 year period.
Yeah, I think 5 is pretty close. I mean, we've got a lot of companies right now that are interested in buying or leasing fiber. I would, I think for the long term, leasing is your better bet. Just because you have that continuous revenue stream, unless you just try to have a quick return on the investment, which I think is a long-term revenue stream. This will be pretty beneficial to the county in the long run. So, but I will go back and I will look at 9A and come back with a better answer for you. Anything else on that term sheet?
I believe so. No.
Brian, you're all good? Anything else on that?
No,
I felt like I cut you off there.
no, that's okay, I think we're good. No, the thing I wanted you guys to know is, we did have, no matter moving forward, so I do think we're going to path forward.
Yeah.
So, and with the scope of the mileage, if they're going to be touching most of the county, it seems like, which should cut down on future needs to dig on the railroad. So we could, at this point, a good agreement in place. Should save some people headaches as well.
Yeah. And this isn't something that Rebecca is new to. Rebecca, they have, it's a call basically, and they have relationships and partnerships with various different government agencies doing the exact same thing that we're doing here. So this is nothing new. This far as government and industry is concerned. So. Next thing on my list here is a request from the Ag Society for funding, potential funding. This is in addition to last week's request for wall repairs, painting, and the FRP wall panels in the hallways and the bathrooms. And ever since I got this tooth pulled, I can't speak, so bear with me. I twist my words. So we notified Carol, which I think she's going to be here at 9 o'clock. I don't know what time it is.
It's 9:12,
So I guess she's
not good.
yeah, unless I told her. Anyway, so I informed her that those repairs were going to be made and that the county was going to cover those costs, and that we want to make sure that they are maintaining security deposits for any repairs after a wild night reception, wedding reception, that sort of thing. So she came back then saying, hey, we want to paint the big conference room, or whatever you want to call that, the big area there, which was painted about 5 or 6 years ago. Dave Monman, I believe, painted it. So she wants to paint that. She wants to paint the kitchen and the main room, and then their office areas. She wants to paint those, do some repairs, and put in some new flooring. So it's a significant additional amount of money. I think it was about $12,000, give or take.
When I was on the fair board, we should just go buy paint and a couple of rollers and do it ourselves.
Yeah, so this would be in addition to the almost 6,000 that you've already approved.
Is there a reason it came in separately? I mean, drip, last week we discussed this and approved, so I mean.
The reason it came in last week is because it was a project that we had listed, so we were just moving forward with our project, sir. So she didn't really initiate that conversation. We did, saying, hey, this is what's been planned. We actually had a contractor going to do the work, and he disappeared. So we had to go out and get new estimates, and hey, now we have the estimates and compliant with the procurement policy, and hey, which one is the best bet? Have you guys approve that, which you did last week, and how much that's going to cost? So I believe informing her that we're going to finally move forward with that, and then start the conversation of, hey, we've got these other things that we'd like to have done as well. She asked about the Delaware Seltzer Trust and whether or not we could ask the trust for these dollars. My concern with that is that they're looking at significant roof repair at that building. Between, depending on material, $30,000 to $80,000.
Say we ask.
You know, so do you keep the powder dry
Yeah, we said that last week.
and say, hey, you know, when it comes down to it, trust, you know, this is what it's going to cost. It's going to cost $35,000 for a new roof on this building versus asking for $12,000, $15,000 for paint and flooring.
Yeah, as we discussed last week, I think that is probably best asked to the trust to provide those funds to repair the roof.
Yeah. Now, the bathroom and the hallway and the repairs that will be completed here soon, one thing to keep in mind is you're providing office space to the OSU extension. So they're up front, you have the hallway, and then the main Bell Seltzer building. So you have the hallway and you have bathrooms, which are shared. So by doing this work, you know, you're also helping OSU extension employees.
Which we had talked about this, we have to supply them an office.
Correct. So with the Bell Seltzer piece, you know, that is something that they rent out. So when it comes down to the roof repair, do you say, Commissioners are gonna cover the whole thing, commissioners aren't gonna cover any of it. The Bell Seltzer Trust is going to cover half, and the commissioners are gonna cover half. Della 30%, commissioners 30%, Ag Society 30%. I mean, how do you want to break those costs up?
I mean, I think you should pursue, I think you should ask the trust to cover the cost of the entire roof repair. I mean, I would ask, it doesn't hurt to ask for that amount, but I would get some estimates out, and ask them if they would be willing to, cover the cost of the repair and replacement of that roof. I mean, I would hit up the trust for that, certainly.
So right now, the cheapest option is about 35,000, so, is that versus a complete new metal roof at 80,000, so 35,000. Not as good, won't last as long, but it's a lot cheaper.
We've been patching that roof for a long while.
We have been, and I have tapped the Del Seltzer Trust for funds to patch the roof. They paid for the LED lighting upgrade, but we had a rebate on that, some other things. Typically, the ask has been about $5,000 or $6,000 on average to the Bell. But we haven't asked for anything for a few years. But my understanding is you want to save that ask for the roof. We'll start at 35,000 and I'll provide all the estimates and pros and cons to all of them to the attorney and have some conversations with them that hopefully the Bell will cover 100%.
I got a better idea. Since you're just asking, and they have the right to say no, ask for the whole thing, including the payment and everything else there. If they say no, they say no. We'll deal with it.
So 50?
Yeah, if there's another 12,000 in cost, I mean, that's kind of what I mentioned last week, it doesn't hurt to ask them for all of them.
Nothing.
What's the worst they can come back with?
Yeah, ask them.
Yeah, okay. I can throw that in there. I think having some conversations with the attorney will probably shed some light on things. But at some point, do you want the Ag Society to have skin in the game, considering that they lease that building out? They've got a revenue stream coming in. Now that benefits the fairgrounds and the fair, right? But,
Yeah, but there's,
Should they-
I certainly think this one's good.
yes. All right. I will come back with that. Last thing I have on my list is the new employees' health benefits policy change, which I'm not sure if you had a chance to review that or not. I just printed it out this morning. Steve just basically got it to me. So, the current policy can leave an employee, a brand new employee, without health care coverage for a significant amount of time. Actually, the county engineer kind of kicked this off. Brian, I'm looking. So we have made some exceptions to the policy in the past. Most recently was the Lee County engineer's new employee. So I've been working with Steve to develop this document. It basically provides information on the current policy and suggestions moving forward with change in that policy to get that new employee covered as soon as possible.
And as soon as possible is the first, so they would still be potentially a month gap.
It could be.
Unless they work at the previous employer into the month which their insurance would likely cover.
Yes. Yeah. Now, a hurdle that we may have is with the auditor's office and who's going to pay that first month, which we've outlined there, the cost, and based on the number of new hires, what that would potentially average out as costs to the county, which is pretty insignificant amount of money, unless we go on a huge hiring spree or we have significant turnover. The impact to the general fund is pretty minimal to cover that first month's cost. That's where the auditor comes in, because that is the employee has to make their contribution before their insurance kicks in, so it's paid for, right? But if the county's gonna pay for that first month, then I don't think that would be an issue. So at this point in time, if you'd like any more information, I can get that for you, or if you want to have another conversation next Tuesday, or you can move forward with this policy change today.
Comfortable moving forward with the policy change today? Consider a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, second. Got a first and a second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Waddle?
Yes.
That's all I have for you today.
Thank you, sir.
Have you heard anything from Mr. Wheeler?
From DRC.
Yeah.
So right now, the two appraisers are not quite seeing eye to eye, and it's just the opposite of what you would think would be happening. The state is appraising the property at a lower value than what our appraiser is. So,
And
So we will accept.
I mean, if they appraised it, it was kind of, I don't know why they made it, appraised it again, they've already appraised their property, they're not.
right, so if we agree on the higher value, we have two options, and that is to trim it down to 6.5 acres, maybe 7 acres, and take that to the state and the controlling board, or we keep it at the 10 acres and go through legislation, which I'm sure we probably have somebody in the room that would assist in that.
90 years, in 3 more months. Yeah.
So I think we set a deadline for these two gentlemen of maybe by next Tuesday to say, hey, we need to have a price that we're gonna agree on to go back to the state.
Yeah, so what's happening now? Okay, the appraisals are different. Do you meet in the middle? Like, why is there no action? We take the lower one, we agree on the higher one, we meet in the middle. I mean, there's gotta be some sort
Well,
of.
I think even meeting in the middle might.
I mean, the state has to be through this process multiple times.
I would.
If the survey, appraisals are different, there's gotta be a process. You take the higher one, you meet in the middle, and what's the process? What's the procedure when there's, two appraisals come in differently?
I would be more comfortable discussing this in an executive session for real estate acquisition if you wanted to.
Well, let's do that later. Yeah, we're getting close to the time crunch here. Mr. Stewart, what do we have the pleasure of your company this morning, sir?
Well, I actually am down here filing court documents
Oh.
because my e-filing legislation is not adopted yet in Madison County, but that's okay, that's okay. We'll get there, but I was like, it's Tuesday, it's your meeting day, and it felt odd to just walk by the door and
Yeah.
not even put my head in, but so I just want to say hi. If you didn't see the news last week, I'm appointed to be the chairman of the House Finance Committee. It's a pretty sizable post. It's going to be a really good thing for the district and certainly for Madison Township. Doing our research, we don't think we can recall a time when Madison County's representative has been the finance chair. So that's going to get us, operating budget, transportation budget, certainly the capital budget next year. My wish list goes to the front of the list, basically, right? Because I get to determine what the list is. So
I think we just became best friends.
I think, yeah, right. So just want to check in, see everybody. Hope everybody had a good holiday season, and it's going to be busier in Columbus for me than the last 2 years just with that championship, but certainly going to do as much as we can, and everybody has my contact info. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Certainly, we've had a couple meetings on land acquisitions, not just with the sheriff, but the city of London, and so whatever we can do, let me know. But we're going to get there working hard and making sure Madison County's in front of the list. So, thanks everybody. Anything come to mind right now? Otherwise, I'm heading north.
All good. Yeah, appreciate you stopping in and saying hello. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. What's that? How's it been?
Is right there.
I hate gold.
That's your 911 as well.
Oh.
That neighbor's door. There you go.
Perfect.
Sat down on the couch.
Well, good morning.
I got dressed and I
Get my lead out, you said you have room. Oh, okay. Got the lead out.
My staff all like, no.
They sleep.
Very helpful, because we had a neighbor that large field to check everything out, acting like he was doing his civic duties.
They can do that.
Yeah, well, till we get shot or something, but, I thought.
You're worse than me, you know, jumps and messing around and then you make it worse. You're trying to make it better.
And,
That was great.
Long drive.
From there. Campfires were on.
Old love, young man,
Yeah. That's exactly right.
At least they let us have it.
And, kitchen sink was right. I don't understand.
So did they check again?
They checked, they cleared everything out. So then, and then it was Marysville, last night, I was sitting down.
How long were you there?
At a football game, and I'm telling them.
Not long enough.
An experience I had this scary.
I think the next time I do it,
I had this
clear minimum.
conversation 2 weeks. And tuned in and acting part of it, once they told me it was my emergency.
Anyway, they approved it all the way from my idea to here.
Yeah, I could.
It dialed 911, and I, everybody busted out, and shut it off.
Serious guy.
Your 911 operators called back.
No, that's it.
Yeah, once you.
Yeah, I don't, that's where I'm
Once you
saying,
call in,
trying to figure
you're a
out.
little concerned.
I know.
So it did well.
You called 911, good, that's good to hear.
I need to let you go, but yeah. But that was my experience with your, employees.
They're professional.
They were very professional.
But they said they have to be cool.
They were on the largest company. You say, well, because.
Wouldn't it?
You have seen there something.
You know.
It'd be different somebody's got.
Yes, yes, Tom was there.
So now the ramps on
I've
been there.
What's this?
It's storming in there, what do we have?
Yeah, think about it for a moment.
Brennan, how are you today?
What I want to give you this.
Very cold.
This is the rest of the land, right? I started talking about it.
Yes.
I sent her an email, never got a reply. I just started.
I knew they were gonna win.
Never been. Come back. Nowhere else.
And bringing that.
I got up this morning, and
Utilizing roofs all the way through. everything to our county. And I wonder if there's something we can possibly do. I have some sort of water on parks and stuff as well. And then maybe. But it was, yeah, what he said was. Funding, I don't know. And then they said, well, more people we get involved. They said, because of
Just stay on top of that.
Yeah, so.
So, but I just want to tell you what we're
That's
talking
great.
about.
Glad you, thanks for bringing this up. We'd be happy to attend any meetings to talk more about it.
I appreciate it.
We'll talk soon about some exciting updates to our subdivision regulations. So we're.
Turn the fans on, let it heat down.
That can be used to help with your, I know that's gonna make it. That's Chris. Chris usually hot.
Yes, I saw it there.
We got a lot of ideas.
As long as it wants to turn in.
Oh, yes, Stephen out there. Beautiful.
So I can't have it.
You want heat? No, it's good the way it is.
Making me sleepy.
You know, it's pretty warm, it's pretty toasty in here. Oh, I see. You know, if they're going.
I don't know which direction they're going.
But I'm eating from the fan, because she's cool. I know.
Well, the heat's up there.
That's all right.
That's what I'm saying, if they were turning the other way.
It's all right.
It'll help increase your metabolism.
All right, let's keep, move on, we will exit regular session, we will commence the park board meeting. We'll call to order the January 21st meeting in Madison County Park District. Not yet, technically, you have to do the stupid reorganization for this.
All right, well, I will reiterate what Mr. Wallace said, and I'll pass the gavel on to Mr. Wallace.
Vote on the reorganization of this year.
I mean, I don't know.
I will nominate Mr. Wallace as the chairman of Madison County Park District.
Second.
Got a first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. Okay, now the test.
Those are perfect.
Yes. All right, we do have the meeting minutes from the December park board meeting in front of you, and also the financial report.
I will move to approve both of those.
Second.
We have the first and the second to approve the minutes and the financial reports as presented. Any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. All right. Financial report included the double fund balance. I don't think there's any other discussion on that. Moving along to partnership reports. Mr. Engineer has stepped out, so we'll go with FMCPT.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, thank you. A couple of things. Moving along with Norfolk Southern, at our last call last week, they said, well, now the hardest part, or one of the longest parts, is going to be getting a survey. And then we replied that we already had the survey done. So they were quite pleasantly surprised. They did send some Norfolk Southern requirements that we forwarded on to the surveyor to make sure that they addressed, but hopefully that's going to keep things moving along more efficiently. So they were, again, very positively inclined, very happy with the progress that's been going on. We're meeting with them every 2 weeks now via Teams. And then I know Commissioner Wallace saw this on Facebook, but we recently had a very nice compliment that I thought was worth bringing to the board's attention from Craig Martin. He is a author and a trail rider who recently rode across the country on the Great American Rail Trail. And he last year published a book about his experiences, and very nicely called out both Dave Meharry, who is our campground ambassador for the Prairie Grass Trail campground, and our trailhead. And he added a little, when we posted about this on Facebook, and he picked it up, and he was very moved and very excited that we said, we've done this. And he wrote a really nice brief summary, and if you don't mind, I'd just like to read it. I've been to a lot of campsites along different trails on my travels, but the Prairie Grass Trailhead always stands out. It's also one of my personal favorites, and anytime I come through, I make sure to stay here. I've stayed 3 to 4 times now, and it seems every visit they're adding on or building something new. Just incredible work. Absolutely top-notch facilities here. Then, as if the camping wasn't great enough, there's Dave, the campground ambassador / caretaker. He's great to talk with, always checks up on who's camping there, and has great stories to tell. Best of all, once you talk with him, you can tell he has a deep care for what he does. This is also probably the cleanest campsite as well. Bathrooms, park benches, actual sites, everything about this is top notch. And you only get that with the best caretakers, community involvement, and just a lot of caring people coming together to create a great experience. So I thought that was a really nice kudo to all of us, the park board, the engineers, the friends, volunteers, etc., who and the soil and water folks, all who helped take care of this. And I just really wanted to put that forward. So thank you for letting me share that. Oh, speaking of the cleanest campsite, we recently had an issue with the Prairie Grass restroom. Apparently the pipes froze, the toilet froze and cracked, even the water meter froze. So Longs is out there, have, taking care of what needs to be taken care of. We're waiting on the new water meter to arrive. Hopefully we'll have it open back up. Unfortunately, some people decided to go ahead and use the restroom even though it was frozen. So there was frozen human waste that had to be dealt with as well. So, yeah, you can't control for everything, I guess. Otherwise, FMCT had a good year. We had our annual meeting last week. Commissioner Wallace came. Thank you, Chris, for coming. Our volunteers, a great job in 2024. Over nearly $3,000 worth of volunteer hours documented, probably more than that, but that's what we have documented, which equates to about $80,000 worth of sweat equity contributed to Madison County from volunteers. So kudos to them as well. And I think that's it. Wayne, are you there? I can't see.
Yes, I made it in. Sorry, a little late. Did you happen to give us, speaking about camping, I don't know why we haven't had any campers in the last 4 or 5 weeks, but anyway, we finished up with 298 for this year, and which, and looking how it spreads throughout the country and the world, we're up to 45 other states have had people that have come here and camped in 25 other countries. But we've seen a lot of different variety of people here. Very fortunate. And that's all I have.
That's it from FMCPT. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to the engineers and engineer report.
Just to piggyback on the restroom situation, according to the contract, the heat was turned off. So we'll have to figure out a better way for some of the world to keep tabs on that.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but actually I should have probably mentioned that at our last meeting, we discussed that, and we're looking at buying a split heater AC unit to put in there. Probably one for the restroom and then just a heater for the closet back behind, but both of them thermostatically controlled. So hopefully we don't have to worry about somebody turning it on or turning it off inappropriately.
Sounds good to me. Outside of that,
Very good. Thank you, sir. Oil and water.
So at the Park District, the Friends meeting, it was asked about the bridges over Darby Creek. The ODOT's going to be replacing those, and whether or not the bike lane will be included in that design. Heather did not know, but she said she would go find out. It was just last week, so she said she'll get back with me on that answer. Also, I thought it was interesting at that meeting, Jeff Stoush, who's their Union County engineer, reported that in the Union County Comprehensive Plan update, they are recommending the formation of a park district. So it'll be interesting to see if Union County acts on that recommendation, and definitely keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
just to add to the bridges conversation. So those are ODOT projects, bridges on Route 40, along over Little Darby, right in town next to McDonald's, and then bridge over Big Darby Creek next to Darby Crest. I don't know what they've been working on feasibility studies on that. I don't know what the actual construction here proposed is. Our primary concern with the Big Darby Creek Bridge was maintaining the township road access underneath the bridge. It looks like that has been included in the final recommendation. And hopefully on the bike lane, there can potentially be some more city federal dollars that can help cover the cost of adding a bike lane to a bridge of that span would be, could be significant if they have to add a beam line or something like that. So. I interrupted your track of thought.
Oh, no, that was actually a very simple, small report, but my goal is, if, this might be an appropriate place to report on anything, I think is relevant from the Darby Scenic Advisory meetings like that, so. Because it's just something that didn't cross my mind, where at that meeting, the focus is how to build that bridge with the least amount of impact on the Darby. And it is important to have someone say, but we also want a bike lane. And of course, the township road access was definitely brought up too. So it is important that people know these projects are happening and be able to say, you know, remember this, don't forget this.
Appreciate you providing that update. All right, moving along to old business. We have under old business a discussion of the park board budget.
So last time it was brought up, hey, we sure would like to have a detailed breakdown of what is in that budget. I've asked Ivy going forward if there is a invoice sent to the commissioners that has the blanket statement, trail maintenance, if she can give me the breakdown too, then I can help track that. And next year we'll have a more better breakdown that we can say, here's where the funds are going, so you know.
Yeah, so we're handling the processing of those accounts, and every transaction is detailed on the monthly actual report you receive.
Yes, but what I had been getting from Heidi was just trail maintenance, the lump sum, but the commissioners see the breakdown.
Okay.
So going forward, she said, no problem, I can send you the breakdown, you know, so you can see.
The actual work report on hours and materials.
Yeah. I knew that was one of the concerns stated was, well, we don't really know what that is.
Yeah, we're spending around 25, just 20 or 25,000 just on the regular bi-weekly mowing and trimming and whatnot. Keep having trees that need taken down or bridge maintenance or drainage maintenance, and that we haven't been charging any administrative costs the last 2 years, so that has helped cover some of those other things. That's enabled us to keep what needs done with the same budget amount, because we're not charging any administrative costs to.
Appreciate that. All right. Is there any new business that come from the park district?
So last week I dropped off a little intro packet. So if you had any questions from that packet or any other questions, I thought we could just try to help answer them since this is your first meeting.
Appreciate it. If you have any questions on that. Appreciate it.
Chris,
Yes, sir.
one thing, I'm currently kind of neck deep working on some grants for the Close the Gap project. Some of them we can apply for as a nonprofit. Some we need either the support of or the front person or the front face being an organization such as the Park District or the county commissioners or whatever. Who do I talk to about coordinating with that? I can try to do all the work, but we're going to need to have one of you guys kind of review it and sign off.
Greg, one thing that comes to my mind, the assistance you get from my office,
Yep.
especially as it relates to federal grants with ODOT and whatnot, I can make sure that whatever the board action needs to take to support those grants, I can make that communication.
Oh, super.
We work together.
All right.
Because they do that on engineer's office, federal
Okay.
grants.
Wonderful. That answers that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, in our office, if you need any help with grants, I would say reach out to Amy. Amy will be your point of contact for any grants that you want us to either support or be the front for.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, not a problem. Anything else for the good of the order? Do you have anything, sir, to add?
I was, just supporting on the bridge
Okay.
access, cause Morpsey, as I came to you guys last month about the bike path idea, and then they approved what they call section 1 and 2, which is from Wilson to West Jeff to Darby Creek over to the bridge track. So that's why it would concern those bridges there. And then, Franklin County engineers were had a concern, they want to run that path up Hubbard and take the east side of the creek up to Plain City. So I'm like, okay, so if we can at least get it to West Jeff, then they want to take it up that way.
I need to dig in a little bit as to what the actual Morpsey approval means, whether they're supporting the plan and concept for future fund allocation, or if they've actually dedicated some dollars. So,
Okay, thank you. All right, hearing nothing else, this park board or park district meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Just to mention, our next park district meeting is February 18th. We will resume normal session. You did all that, not in mine. That's a very large brain. Maybe the largest. Many people are saying.
I feel unneeded now.
Huge.
Diminish my.
Oh, you're in there, stuff in that.
Go for it.
Diminish my position.
First, on a resolution approving the payments of invoices to the Madison County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
We'll get a first and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yep.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution amending the Madison County Comprehensive Plan to remove this section regarding solar energy.
Move to approve.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea? Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations to the Commissioner's other expense line. This is for the $2 million and change for the grant we got for, the county oversaw the grant for Mid-Ohio construction. So we got the money, we're giving back to them for their work.
Approved. Second. We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation pursuant to RC 379.29 and RC 575.191. This has been revised. This was at the, some Brendan's comment and emails, went through the prosecutor's office for revision. So this has been reviewed. It doesn't say additional or renewal in that line we talked about. So, but this has been reviewed by.
So what does it say now?
I think it was the second one, be it further resolved that the ballot measure shall be submitted to the electors of said, Madison County, Ohio, at the primary election, to be held in the usual place with said Madison County, Ohio, on May 6, 2025.
We're just certifying it to be on the ballot.
Yes. basically.
So it just removes the language about
The additional tax, and so the additional was because it was, additional made sense, but it was confusing, so we just took that out, so.
Move to approve.
Second.
Move first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution increasing appropriations to the general fund for mandated county shares of Child Support Enforcement Agency Public Assistance and Children's Services Program. And I think I explained that to you in the email.
Move to approve.
Second. Move first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Zekas?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving quarterly transfers from Madison County Job and Family Services, and that's for those appropriations come into place, so.
Move to approve.
Second. Move first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Zekas? Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving a transfer and an increase of appropriations for the Madison County Sheriff's Office to replace end-of-life mobile data docking stations.
Move to approve.
Second. Move first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Zekas?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution approving the contract addendum between Madison County and Choice One Engineering for the 2022 CDBG Critical Infrastructure Program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Move first and second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Zekas?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
And that's all I have for you today.
Thank you. You've heard much. Brian, did you have anything else? Any other business? I don't know if I asked you if you had any.
No, I was just gonna update you that we did complete repairs to the bridge on Dyer Road. That's on Friday, we have it back open. We will be increasing the weight restriction on it to where it was previously, which will enable, our EMS service there. And I believe ODOT has pushed back their closure of Dyer next Monday.
I want to thank you for that. I was on township trustee fire chief, that hospital, about their concern with their apparatus, what else over there. Sure.
Well, one thing that.
Those will be working on it and they.
One thing that raised to light is with the variety of fire equipment we have in the county, we don't have a great inventory of individual truck weights with those different districts, so we are going to be working with all of them to make sure, because in some cases, they're like the one down there, both their tandems and their single axle fire trucks exceed, they'll have legal weights.
And they do, and I told my man, I'm not an engineer, it's not my lane whatsoever, but I said, I'm sure there was some concern that not necessarily just the weight of the engine, but the general traffic that structure would take, like, that's why we reduced them. Not saying that it wouldn't maybe take the engine or the tanker, obviously was concerned, but definitely major concern with ongoing usage, everyday road travel. That's why we reduced them. But of course, he was going to reach out, I'm glad you addressed that. I have an answer for what to expect after that.
Sunshine.
Anything else, gentlemen? Thank you so much, appreciate it. You go,
Thanks for that.
Well, we put the 10-ton back on it.
Now that we're on break, I can just say, is Aaron still coming in?
Yes, I should have waited, but I can tell her never mind.
That's
It's up to the commissioners, but I would say we're the trip since they were past the resolution.
Yeah, she came in last year.
We
already tapped the resolution. Thanks for coming. Well,
everyday usage, you know.
Yeah, there's a state.
I should go down there so I can see what the hell it's all about.
So I think we can use those resources. Yeah, I think that's probably right. They've got tires on the board.
How long did you drive to work?
Information. They've got this, some on the coast of Central Iowa region.
No, but we still don't.
Many's pretty large there, what may be applicable, but we could certainly move forward without them as well, so. But yeah, we are a full member of it. Who? Hilliard? Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
Kind of, so Plain City Road, Del Road.
You know, we made.
Bridge and, I don't know what that's.
Some of those are last through trucks.
Because this is ground I have never treaded before.
Yeah.
We're down to about 6.
I apologize for imposing on you
This
guys.
is.
No, that's what we're here for. I mean, we're all partners in all this, so. And Darby Township's part of Madison County, so. Yeah.
To see exactly what we.
More than happy to help, so I appreciate it. Some of it's new territory for us.
See, you got like that project.
Oh, it's gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Make it sail, straight gauge.
Getting ahead of it is some key, at least in my mind.
Right now, we're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
You're right. Getting ahead of it. That's what we're moving on to. The time we had.
Right.
Canyon Township tonight and stuff.
Are they,
Restricts box.
they have a desire to be part of the shed?
I said it was, there's nothing, how you got 80 across.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we're coming down 42, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, sometimes these Twin City having any bargaining chips for it.
I can't figure that out myself.
There are meetings.
What's gonna
That's
fail,
all
right?
right, it's a joint up here.
And that really wrangled.
Yeah, you want his face to get real red? We've had this conversation numerous times.
Getting glamour.
Yeah, but I mean. See, I mean, that's what we're talking about.
What?
You didn't do anything.
No.
But I mean, that's the only service that they would be able to provide, and it's a service that's already provided, so. Unless there's something that I'm missing, if I was Canyon Township, I don't think I would entertain it.
Ishmael is yet to reach out on that.
What's that?
Yeah, I've not heard from Canaan Township.
Did you?
I've not.
You have not.
I'd be interested to know what concerns the mayor has for their police services.
I get the feeling that it's more of a promotion than a concern. Sure. If that means anything.
Unless I just did not have confidence in the sheriff's department, I don't think I would go down there.
I mean, he said when he called us, when he needed us, he called us and we came.
Yeah, well, that just happened last week. Yeah, and 911 worked well. I really did appreciate the lady in the professional.
It just helps. Since all, photos that we've seen in that area, that's been kind of like their front. You need our law enforcement. We have something there down below. Law enforcement now in that area that our residents know it. My office is always open.
That meeting's tonight?
I'll be there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
What time is it?
7.
Where's it at?
Anyone
Canaan.
asked.
At the township, if you want to be there, you can come.
it's probably not a bad idea.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Discussion about this.
Because like I said, there was always that concern, but yet when I was president, there was never that concern.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's also interesting.
The Plain City wants to do a CETA with Canyon Township, and it's basically a very large gap between piece of property in the municipal boundary. And Plain City's argument is that you need the police enforcement. And that's what we'll offer in the CEDA agreement. My argument is that you have the sheriff's office that is already providing law enforcement there. So you really don't have a bargaining chip there unless you just do not have complete confidence in the sheriff's office by law enforcement. So.
When is that meeting?
Tonight. That tells me that there's conversation happening with property owners down 42 to get to there.
Who put this meeting together?
Game and Darby.
Yeah, we did, us trustees.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is, maybe.
Well, maybe I'm surmising
Because
incorrectly.
they, remember, they presented that map to you guys and they had not engaged anybody either. So, I mean, I think that they're just trying to cast the net as far as they can.
Well, they only need to go through 2 property owners to get, 2 or 3 property owners to get to Canaan Township.
So that'd be annexation, but they've got projects looking at.
So,
Yeah, if I turn my hat back around and I was Plain City, I would definitely move in this direction.
Sure.
For, to pin down your future growth.
possibilities.
Yeah.
And that's how to yeah, you're right.
And I get it. I mean, for us, we'll stay, I mean, news
I'm
model,
with you.
yeah, I mean, we're just trying to be there and provide information.
I can argue either point, but I get a little sensitive when there's criticism of the sheriff's office.
I too.
So-
I appreciate that. And now, really, back to wondering who facilitated this meeting. The Canaan Township reached out and wanted to know if they could meet with us as Darby Township. That's how that happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's been an interesting conversation. Where do you go?
Sounds good.
Yeah, good seeing you, sir.
Hey, good to see you guys. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
All right, we'll go ahead and move into open session. Anybody has anything for the good of the order?
Not a whole lot. I know that there has been an approach made to another landowner, Steve Dennis, trying to have a conversation about gas line running through a property at the end of Sparling and Blade Run to where Steve owns that property. I went to the meeting, the trustee meeting last night, and we kind of talked about it a little bit and kind of kicking himself in the rear for not engaging in the conversation a little bit more. He just was against, and he wanted to learn more about it. So I think he's going to circle back to that number, just try to figure out who this was on his phone that he talked to and see if they'll bite on anything else. But other than that, trying to, revisualize the path that they're trying to get to the gas line, and if anybody would know anything different than another route or a way to go, if there would be suggestions of neighbors that we could reach out and potentially talk to. So I don't know if you guys have any more insight of the path than what I do, or the potential path.
Yeah, we probably know as much as you do about, potential path to that property. Yeah, I don't have any further insight there to provide.
So yeah, that's, again, we're still
in holding pattern.
where we, still where we were.
Yeah.
I know we did, make the announcement to, our group, about providing information to Nick. If he could review it and see if it's worthy of going to the third-party attorney and all that. And I know that we kind of discussed last week about trying to get some type of a timeline or expectation. Have we got their overview, any scheduling of that, the results of their overview yet?
Yeah, I don't know that they've gotten back to us. Rod, do you know timeline of when they may give to us with like a memo on what the game plan is, how we attack this?
I can reach out and ask.
Yeah, I would reach out. This thing, we kind of want to have the playbook, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have the playbook. How do you intend to attack this? What are our angles of attack? Yeah, I think we might have that in writing.
Do that right now.
But no, other than that, we're just continuing with our little community meetings and trying to keep, you know, everybody that we can keep up to date. And trying to keep this thing energized, in the community, because I know that everybody's energized here, but, we're facing a potential, meeting that Vanguard wants to have. It sounds like there's talks of them coming in and doing their part of this meeting with the community, so we need to get people revved up for attendance on that, and obviously handle ourselves in a different demeanor than the initial shock, and be more prepared to handle that conversation. And obviously, we're way more educated than what we were in that first meeting, so we were just floored by that. So, yeah, just try to keep everybody energized so we can have a good turnout, and hopefully wherever they decide to go, there's not enough people and I have to walk in and say, hey guys, you're gonna have to relocate, we need a bigger place. So, but yeah, just excited about that.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Oh, I do have one other question, and because I don't know, when you guys are talking about things, as a board say, the building, the ag building and stuff like that, am I allowed interjecting my thoughts into that conversation, or?
Okay, yeah, sure.
I just didn't know if that was out of place or not, I didn't know.
You have something to add?
Yeah, make people accountable, man. If they're tearing the place up and it's costing money to get it rebuilt, do a walkthrough or something like that, you know? If that.
Oh, yeah, trust us, we've said that to the fair board. I mean, the fair board's the one renting that out, they should be retaining the deposit.
Yeah.
And taking that deposit, or even going after people for damages if they damage it. Oh, yeah, we've made that argument.
And it used to be that way years ago when I was on the fair board. We took up that deposit, it wasn't a lot, maybe $100 or something. And then, you know, it was taken off their lease, but I don't know why.
They're collecting that now. They're collecting deposits now.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's not enough to cover some.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
It's not like a nominal amount, but isn't.
You know, from the times that I was on it, we didn't have any issues like this, because I think there's been a change of who's actually leasing.
The clientele.
The clientele has changed, and I don't want to say anything, but it has changed, and I think that's the issue.
Well, again, you know, that if you guys we're looking to pay for the repairs, hold the people that's on the damages account. I mean, if it is a $300 whatever deposit, that's not fixed on kick home driveway.
It makes sense, yeah.
So it brings it to the club. Go to the fair board and make that sense.
Yeah, I will, yeah, that's crazy. Because, yeah.
Put it this way, you know, we have the poker run, right, that ends there, and the wedding that was in the Del Seltzer building, they were way more rowdy than 150 bikers.
That's probably pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the bikers are respectful.
Yeah, we picked up a look at it.
Actually, all right.
Yeah, we were there the next morning to clean up, and that's how, I mean, there was stuff laying over in that area, and I'm like, is that our stuff? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, yeah, this is from that.
Bike clubs have changed over the years, and the police are in the clean up.
Yeah. And they were there way longer than we were, too.
Oh, yeah, I know, we had to go to that one.
And louder than us.
Yeah, we had to go.
Yeah, the band.
We had to go to that one.
So.
Yeah, I think they talked, I think even the fair board talked after that about like a cutting time, you know, more than that.
Yes, you can, yep.
Nobody's left.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, let's move to go on executive session to discuss the acquisition of real estate. Oh,
Take care, everybody.
thank you. I'm getting the motion. That's what I said. We got a first and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneaky?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to pull that sign out.
I know Brian might be important information. He's working for the other side of the mall.
I didn't know we had enough information to.
Well, I mean, basically what it's boiling down to is our appraiser.
Yeah, I think she's good. You're good, right, Amy?
Yes.
It's recording.
Hit the
Oh,
stop.
no.
Oh, I thought you
No,
were.
that's
I'm
not-
busy taking minutes.
Just not finished. Thank
I can never tell with that button in there.
Yeah. To read it.
I appreciate the reminder.